For 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And at the risk of being redundant, I'm probably the fifth or sixth person here who's going to express some concern over the 44% operational control number. And I think you've done an admirable job defining that as a term of art. What I would like to ask is, let's take the word operational out of there and define control as what the average American would say. What percentage control do you think we have of either of our borders now, or both of our borders?
Well, I think in terms of manpower, technology, infrastructure, we have effective control over the great majority of both borders, particularly at the ports. And then we are using manpower and new technologies to help us between the ports. It is a project that is never ending. We are relentless in it. We recognize that when you are a country as large as ours with the kind of land borders we have, that you're never going to seal those borders. That's an unrealistic expectation. But I would say my top priority in terms of effective control is the Tucson sector of the southwest border.
And you also mentioned that you didn't feel like some of the violence from Mexico is spilling over into the United States or crime. And just as a personal aside, I'd like to take issue with that, because I really do believe that what we've got is a very effective distribution network of narcotics that come into this country that I'm very concerned could be exploited by terrorists and used for bringing in the tools of the terrorist trade. The easy availability of drugs in this country, I think, is an indication that we really don't have the level of control that we would all like to hope. And that's
indeed. And one of the things that all I will say in open setting is that we have for some time been thinking ahead about what would happen if, say, al-Qaeda were to unite with the Zetas, one of the drug cartels, and I'll just leave it at that.
And Congressman, if I could just add, one of the things we did post December 2009 attack and looking at other possible avenues is we embedded for the first time several DEA agents and analysts within NCTC to try to make sure the counter-narcotics and counterterrorism information was being shared effectively.
Great. And then just kind of jumping over to the TSA, and I realize this is probably outside of the scope of this hearing or something that we might want to take in a more classified environment, but where are we with respect to implementing a trusted traveler program that might mitigate the impact of law-abiding Americans of having to undergo these intrusive TSA searches? My 21-year-old daughter had the misfortune of having a false positive display on one of the body scanners just last weekend and was subjected to a search that I think would rise to the level of sexual assault in most states. And a trusted traveler program seems like a way that it would pay for itself by user fees to alleviate that burden on at least the people who chose to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And we are moving as swiftly as we can, trusted shippers, trusted travelers. We have well over 100,000 Americans signed up for trusted traveler air programs like Global Entry, and be happy to sign your daughter up, by the way. But I think that's the way to go. I mean, we need to have some way to effectively separate passengers and cargo that we need to pay specific attention to from those we don't. We will always have to do some random searches. Unpredictability always has to be a tool in the toolbox. But we need to be working toward a system where we have better ways to tier and focus on who needs to go through what kind of screening or what needs to go through what kind of screening. And that's what we're working toward, Representative.
Do you think it might be a cost-effective way to use Global Entry also for domestic flights, use something very similar to that infrastructure and maybe a cost-effective way to implement it?
Yeah, we're looking at that right now as a possibility.
Thank you.
The gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Jackson.